And joining us now is Democratic Congressman Brendan Boyle from Pennsylvania. He's the ranking member of the Budget Committee. Congressman, thanks so much for joining us. We just saw those heated exchanges in the hallway there at the Capitol between Congressman Lawler, Leader Jeffries. We had Speaker Johnson and Senators Kelly and Gallego also really bickering, it seemed. Are these sorts of interactions productive?
Well, first, I'm just glad there were two Republicans in the building yesterday, because I was in Washington, D.C., despite the fact that the Republican speaker canceled session for last week and canceled session for this week. I saw plenty of my Democratic colleagues. We actually held a steering and policy committee hearing talking about what is facing the American people in terms of the biggest health care cut in American history. Premiums starting to skyrocket, beginning with the letters going out literally this week. Couldn't find, I will say, there all day, walked through the Capitol, walked through a couple of House office buildings. I didn't see one Republican around. And I want to underscore how unusual that is. I've been through, unfortunately, I've been through a few of these government shutdowns. It was always the case in previous ones. We were in session around the clock, negotiating and attempting to get an answer, attempting to get to yes and reopen the government. Here you have Republicans who have shut down session and still to this day refuse to negotiate with us.
I know you spoke at a federal employee union rally this week. We are now 9 days in. What did those workers tell you about their worries as this shutdown drags on?
Yeah, I stood there right in front of Independence Hall in my district with a number of federal workers who work in and around the Philadelphia area. And I was really impressed by their resolve, because it's one thing for a member of Congress to be in this fight, but for federal workers who are actually risking and going to work every day and not getting paid, to actually say, keep it up, keep fighting. We need to end the government shutdown, but we also need to prevent tens of millions of Americans from either losing their health care or it becoming so unaffordable that they lose it anyway. So I was really impressed with their resolve. And I went there to make them feel better, but it ended up being actually the other way around.
We can report that nearly half of the IRS workforce has now been furloughed, but workers were told in a letter yesterday that they will receive back pay when the shutdown ends. Of course, that matters because the president has suggested not everyone will get paid. What do you make of all this mixed messaging? Is it just political posturing, or do you think these threats are real?
Well, it shows you how malicious it is from this White House. First, I want to be clear. It is federal law that any federal worker who is showing up right now, going to work, doing their duty, does eventually get paid once the government reopens. So it is outrageous that this White House and this president would threaten federal workers who are showing up for their jobs, saying to them, oh, even when the government reopens, we're not going to send you the check. We're not going to send you the direct deposit. That is really outrageous.
Congressman Brendan Boyle, I appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us.